Yo, JD here, and as you can see, we are back on F1 22 as always. And in today's video, we are going to be discussing a few rumours that I have heard both externally and internally from many people within the F1 gaming community, and what a future patch around maybe December, Christmas time could involve. But before we get into that, just want to thank some new extra rotation members for the channel, and also for people who have been joining these hobbies, who most of the people in this hobby are part of my YouTube membership. So hopefully you have been enjoying that, and yeah, if you do want a guaranteed invite, if you're available at the time of doing these hobbies, then I always invite people in beforehand, and you can see we are doing cross-play lobbies as well. So thank you so much to everyone who has been involved in that, and I really hope you have been enjoying it. But moving back to the topic at hand, as I said, without naming names, I've been talking to a few people, and there is quite a big rumour that some tracks that are already within the game file. So if you take a look here, it's no particular secret, but we still have tracks such as Vietnam, which I would absolutely love to see. And honestly, I think it was one of my favourite tracks that I've ever driven on F1 game, and I think we only had it on F1 2020. Didn't even get a chance to drive it in real life for the actual Formula 1, but that track, now if it's in the game already, then why not use it? And obviously tracks such as USA Short, Russia, for obvious reasons that's not going to be added in, Japan Short, Britain Short, Germany Hockenheim, I would absolutely love to see that back. And then the Bahrain Short, which we did have on F1 2020, if I'm not mistaken. And basically the idea of this video is really just to get your thoughts on, do you think Codemasters should be adding these tracks back in? And again, knowing that this is within the game files is kind of old news. This has been circulated around for quite a while, and Codemasters did say that China will be the last track added in, but no, having tracks such as Vietnam that they basically just completely created just for one game and then that was it, feels like a very big waste to me. And I would absolutely love, especially for that track to come back. Obviously tracks such as the Silverstone Short and the Bahrain Short and the Japan Short, obviously the main tracks, the full length circuit versions, have been updated as well. So I can understand that they would probably have to do a few modifications for that, since the full length has changed. But still, no, we've got China coming back in here, and we've had tracks such as Portimao come back in, which I believe is not even on the calendar this season in real F1. So can't really be down to the licensing issues, which I always thought would probably be the main reason, because there is a lot of restrictions and a lot of approvals that need to be made before you put something in on an F1 game, which is why it's often been quite restricted. But yeah, tracks such as Vietnam, which, you know, it's not even a real track anymore in real life. It's now I just absolutely would love to see these tracks back. And again, without naming names, but from discussing with a few people, since the F1 season does conclude at the end of the year, they may be considering releasing these tracks, apart from Russia, but releasing all of these tracks for December time, because really between Christmas and March is when we have the F1 withdrawal symptoms. Obviously the hype for the real F1 has gone down, and if the hype for the real F1 has gone down, then usually the hype for the game has gone down. Also, since F1 esports will be finishing in December as well, I think it would be an absolutely perfect time to release some more tracks that we've had in itself. And I know I've been quite critical of Codemasters in the past, talking about how they haven't updated their game, and a lot of the game files are the same, where they just haven't bothered to rename the cars and everything such as that. Like, we still have the Force India within the game files and things such as that. But why not use it to your advantage? Maybe why don't actually just, if you still have it in the game file, then maybe just throw it in. And having a new track is certainly not always a bad thing. So yeah, really just want to kind of hear your thoughts on that. Do you think Codemasters should be utilising that more, and do you think it will actually happen? I myself, I would love to see it, especially tracks like Vietnam. I think in these cars, and we only got to drive it for one game, it was one of my personal favourites. It was a combination of so many other different tracks. It was very, very unique in its design, and having races such as the Bahrain Short, which is not the exact same as the outer layout, which we did have in real life, but I remember doing league racing on the Bahrain Short, the Silverstone Short as well. Just gives it a whole different kind of dynamic, and it really does spice up the calendar just a little bit more. And yeah, just the more the better, really, in my opinion. And if there are glitches and it doesn't work, then simply just remove the track. So yeah, really just interested to hear what your thoughts are on that, because this track China here is pretty much almost exactly the same as when we last had it, and I think it's a great circuit. I know a lot of people have a different opinion on that, but for me, it's I really enjoy this track. I think I'm one of the minority of people who actually seem to enjoy this track, and might be the case for tracks such as Vietnam, but having a Bahrain Short, a Suzuka Short as well, and the Silverstone Short circuit, those were such intense races, especially in league racing online, where any error was just absolutely maximised. I would really, really love to see them come back. So please comment down below what you think Codemasters should do. And also, again, videos such as this I think are quite useful for feedback, because I know people from Codemasters do take note of the feedback here, and hence why we've had a few patches addressing some of the issues people brought up. So any issues you think are still remaining within the game, or you think that they should be focusing on, then please comment down below what you think, because with the power of the community and people's comments, seeing how many people are affected by certain issues, I think that's usually quite a good way to maybe get some changes. But you can see we finished off our race at China here. Now we're going over to Portimao, which is the second track that has been added into this game, and we're just going to finish off with a 5-lapper here. So we've got 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. Shows some really good pace at China, which I have uploaded within my Discord that's set up as well. But you can see we get a really good start here and kind of get boxed in. So we're just going to let the carnage unfold as absolutely usual. And we're focused on P17. Now we're going up into, where have we gone? We've gone up into P11, now to P10, and back into P10 again. So making up about 7 positions on the start of this race, and we are running a pretty low downforce setup here, so going to try and utilise it on the straights as much as possible. So trying to get some good traction. Got VR or Safari on the left hand side, and leaving some room on the outside just in case going to this turn 8. A very awkward corner to get on the traction. And now we've actually made up 9 positions going up into here, but make that 10 positions going up into P7 now. So a pretty good opening lap of this race. And now coming through into here, this track I find to be definitely one of the most technical tracks as well. As I come through here, this guy just completely loses it. So General Jake, I think that was. So it was a general Nick, but very unlucky to that guy who did lose it. As Yone Dovson, a very fast driver, is out in the lead. So I think it's going to be quite difficult to catch up to him. So we're just going to do absolutely everything we can. And you may notice I've actually changed the audio of the car. I think I had it in broadcast, or sorry, I had it in driver audio before, but now we have it in broadcast, which I do think sounds a little bit better as well. As we're up into P6, trying to close in on Goxie and ERS Hamilton, both another couple of very fast drivers. So taking a pretty wide line in here, trying to get some good traction on the exit, and you can see we've managed to save quite a bit of our ERS as well, and taking another wide line just so it makes it a bit easier to get on the power coming through into here, and going through this one, going a bit deep, but again just trying to unwind that steering wheel as soon as we possibly can. You can see a bit of a slow in, fast out approach, quite an awkward corner in terms of trying to maintain the minimum speed through here, as Yone Dodson does a 18.4, we do a 19.2. Didn't really use that much ERS on that lap, as it's like there's a couple of people going side by side here. Someone has been absolutely smashed out wide. So ERS Hamilton, so I got that inside here. He leaves me room on the inside, and then going through here, we're going to go a little bit of a side by side action. So try to go for a bit of a switchback, get on the DRS, and now have to use a bit of the overtake button just to ensure we get this overtake done. And then on the exit, he tries to get a bit of a switchback on me, so we have to use the ERS once again, go side by side into turn 7, but we just about make it through, and you definitely really can't go side by side into this turn 8 here. And now it's only 6 tenths between myself and Goxie for a fight for a podium, so making up some pretty good ground in this race here, and you will see what our straight line speed is like as we come down the straight. But a little bit of dirty air on this game, but I think the thing that this game does lack a little bit, and that's something we have seen in F1 esports, is just the DRS and slipstream effect. I just don't feel it's particularly powerful enough, and the ERS is just so powerful to use. If you want to defend against someone, you can pretty much, even if they have the DRS behind you, if you have more ERS than them, it's going to be quite easy for you to defend. And because of the lack of the DRS and the slipstream effect, it makes it a lot harder to save the battery than it did on the previous games as well, which is why so far in F1 esports, I feel probably the most exciting aspect really is the qualifying, in all honesty, in my opinion, and when they arrive at the pit stops in the race. Because other than that, it's kind of just a DRS train, and you just can't really make progress in the race. No matter how good your race pace is, no, you're not going to be second faster than someone else in the field of F1 esports. So qualifying is going to be vitally important in that series. But you can see we're closing up on Goxie here, and you'll be able to see an example of this. So he's got quite a bit of ERS on board as well, and we're going to be getting the DRS and the slipstream, but you could just see it's, since he's using the ERS at the same time and the overtake button, you know, see the slipstream here is almost non-existent. We have a pretty simple car in a straight line. DRS here now, but it should be a lot more powerful than this, in my opinion. You can see we're barely alongside as we got into turn 1, so we have to leave some room on the outside. Now we're going to go side by side into here. Does he concede? Yes, he does. And now we're up into P3 in this race, so making up about 14 or so positions here, which is pretty good. And I don't think we're going to go for the fastest lap because we had to go side by side going for that turn 1. But I think Yone is incredibly fast around this circuit, so try and maximise turn 8 as much as possible, using the ERS for the rest of this lap. And yeah, I would absolutely love to see some more tracks added to the game. The more, the better, in my opinion. And I think tracks such as Vietnam not really been utilised when, you know, I don't know if it's a licensing issue or anything at all, but if China's involved and Portimao's involved and they're not on the actual calendar, then why can't tracks like Vietnam be involved if it is still within the game file? So please just let me know your thoughts on that, and I really hope these rumours do turn out to be true. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for the support on the channel, and I'll be catching you very, very soon. Peace.